yung okay kasi dito, di ba pag bumuli ka ng kape doon, pwede kasama na yung Pasko. Parang I think you pay 20 or 30 pesos more.
Akala ko kasama talaga siya.
Hindi.
Extra.
Dati ata, parang by default. So, lahat ng baso namin sa Minsan, it's either ganito or yung dati Carmi Navy na na glass rin. Yung sa iced tea nila.
Ano niya ako may?
Kasi dati glass rin yun eh. Tapos nag-switch na sila.
Okay. Hindi ko ewan mo, kumaalan. Pero may yun ka din kami sa bahay. Tapos, hindi siya for drinking. For plants ko siya. For plants, mga paintbrush.
Plantita ka ba? Number.
Yeah, parang I like plants people. Like,
They don't like you. Sige, I'll introduce you to one of our past guests. Kailan mo si Luis Ascona at Charlene Gumpare. Anyway, yun, mga plantito, recently plantito people sila. Ganun. Hello, Nikka, how are you?
hello, good. Feeling daw po, emotional ako tabak. Pero also, wala na. Kasi nasa PMS space. TMI.
Okay lang siya.
Kasi kahit yung kulang, hindi ako. Pag nasa face na, wala nang shinare ka.
Okay lang. May ano yung pinaka-recent mong iniyakan na parang hindi naman iniiyakan ng non-emotional person. Meron bang ganun?
Medyo recent to eh. Kami ni Josh na sa ni 16 Lab.
Right,
Tapos,
malapit lang.
nagsisketch lang siya, tapos ako nagsiscroll lang. Tapos may pinakita lang siya sa akin na may ko-post mo siya. Tapos umiyak ako out of nowhere. Like, parang bakit? And,
But do you find that that's something you've always been doing? Or something that you've always, that's part of who you are, where you really get emotional about?
emotional talaga.
Where do you think that comes from?
Ewan po, parang there are just things na since childhood eh, sininggit.
And what would those be? Like, may nahulog na pagkain or what would you find na parang naiiyakan mo talaga tulad ng that?
Feeling ko lang talaga ako, sensitive na tao. So, anything na sinasabi sa akin, like, I take it to heart. So, hindi ko alam kung bakit nag-manifest din siya sa parang random lang na situations.
I guess for those who don't know, you are the singer and songwriter, one of the songwriters for the band called The Vowels They Orbit. But I know you more as a friend and the fiance of of Josh Villena,
Yes.
who is also here somewhere bilang tambay sa Minsan.
With our dog.
I guess for those who don't know who you are or don't know a lot about what you do, what's one thing that if they understood about you, that they would like one concept or one experience about your life, that if they understood or they know, they would understand who you are. So for me, like I always say, it's that music is my life. Everything I do revolves around that concept, being in bands or being around people, helping people out. So that's me. What would that equivalent be for you?
Like, sort of like a fun fact, no? So, that would help people understand about them. I'm attached to ideas, good ideas. So, I would say I'm a creative person. So, not just sa music, but any other type of art, I would say. So, to elaborate, like, feeling ko everything has to start from a good idea.
From a good idea.
Oo. Does that make sense?
Okay na. But so, what's the last idea you remember being completely obsessed about?
Your recent na sobrang nahook ako is yung Tota shoot. Like,
Yeah. So we did the show here for Josh's solo project Tota.
Yeah.
And the concept, walk us through that concept siguro.
Okay. Actually, so the first concept of that, kasi when I first heard the album, it's all about yung bahay ni Tota or his mind. So like, and yung setting ng songs, we're at a house. So parang, at first it was like going to be a literal
House show.
House show. And then like, I mean, swinerde kami at the same time na ang hirap mag-show sa isang
Sa bahay. Of
There's so
course.
many things that could go wrong in a house show. And so like I was thinking, what else can I do for this show? So, for context, bakit ako pa? I mean, not just because syempre partner pa si Josh, pero we really work together sa creatives nito. But yeah, parang palapit na yung time na we really had to set a concept and place. And we were at a balloon. Tapos bigla siyang kumakanta, like on the guitar. Tapos ito na naman ako, naiiyak na naman ako nung time yun. And I said, wait, because my eyes are closed.
Okay.
And I was like, wait lang, parang, bakit parang iba yung effect sa akin ng songs mo?
Pag nakapikit.
Pag nakapikit. So I was like, let's turn off the lights. Tapos yun, parang, oh my gosh, when you're singing with the lights off, nagigets ko yung kwento ng songs mo sa Tota. And so that's how the concept happened. Na parang let's do a lights off show for Tota. Which sounded absurd kasi parang si Josh, how will we see what we're playing?
Ganun,
Ganun. Eh, concerned siya kasi family members niya, yung batchmates niya, and they're professionals. And I was like, then let's just put lights, small lights on the instruments. Kasi yan, parang yan yung nag-play out. And parang, na-attach din ito ako to rin. So when it finally happened on site.
Yeah, for the Minsan team naman, I guess it was, especially for me, being on the other end of executing that idea, it was more of seeing how that tied into a lot of the anxiety, I guess, within the songs.
Yeah.
And it's for us a little more technical challenge. Okay, how do we capture this feeling so that you're able to translate that emotion? Diba? So that'll be coming out hopefully within a few months. So
Yes, excited to copy.
you'll most likely see it on Tota's pages. But where do you think this obsession with ideas comes from? Because I like talking to people, and you and Josh are actually two of the people I throw some of my crazy ideas to. You have a chat group called Jason Console, so you're one of the people I ask. Where do you think that comes from? The obsession with ideas. Is there anything you remember? Okay to ah, or parang I like this. Why do I keep myself finding? Why do I keep finding myself going back to the love of concepts?
I never really thought about that. Siguro I learned it from my job. But like, if I could go back sa nung bata ako, I think I would say creative talaga ako, like, compared to my classmates. Ayaw naman sabihin na parang I'm spiritual.
But what
Pero parang I remember talaga, like, as a kid, hindi talaga akong sulat. I would write poems, and parang nag-enter ba ako ng contest ng grade 1. Like,
Grade 1,
Yeah.
ganun ka agad, susunod ka na.
Parang nanalo ko and all that. So, I guess, at first it was more like, kaya ko pala siyang gawin. And then when it became my job, mas doon ko na siya na-craft, and that's why parang it stuck with me. Na parang, kailangan talaga maganda yung idea. Like, ewan ko, from work.
Okay lang.
Anyway.
But I guess for those who don't know you, I know you used to work in-house with GIGIL Creatives.
And then I do freelance work for them until now. Yeah.
How has your attitude towards creative work changed naman? Because from something that you would do for personal use, to feed your soul, essentially, you would write for yourself, di ba, when you were younger. How has that shifted, siguro, when you're essentially a hired brain for someone else, for like a campaign for 7-Eleven or whoever the client would be?
Siguro what I learned is sa advertising, it doesn't always have to be like ad work in a parang very straightforward that I have to say. Parang dun ko natutunan na pwede palang maging artful sa ads. So,
Do you remember any particular campaign you worked on that you really felt that way?
Um, well, one of the campaigns na proud ako to be a part of is yung 7-Eleven Slurpee.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those who aren't too familiar, maybe walk us through that.
Yeah. Wait, what was it called? Sorry. Summer hit song. Slurpee summer hit song. Yeah. Ayan. So parang during this project, Tech, Brace Node, and Autotele came together to write a song. And then we did a show for them. Parang nag-perform sila sa Centuries, and we also created a music video out of it. So parang with this, parang we sold Slurpees, and then also posted online yung mga lyrics ng may mga blank po. So customers could fill in the blanks of these lyrics with their cups. So parang gano'n, hanggang sa may nabuo na kanta. So here, dun ko natutunan na, it can also, it's art eh. May product kang ginawa, may music kang ginawa. And then, yung relationship ko sa creatives, parang dumating sa point na, yeah, even though ads can be artful, I'm losing time with my own personal art. So parang, there came a time na parang ayaw na.
Which is, I guess, why you decided to do more freelance work as opposed to being in-house.
Yeah. So parang meron lang akong love-hate relationship with advertising and even my own personal part na parang until now, I don't think I've done everything that I wanted to do art-wise. Kasi meron pa akong parang hindi siya lack of confidence, pero parang there was something lost along the way dahil sa work experience.
And so how are you dealing with that sort of trying to figure out that, I guess, that gap in your art, or at least in developing your art more than anything else? What are you doing these days aside from what I know you work with Josh as, I would say, he's chief creative in envisioning what Tota is. Are there other things you're doing to build that taste?
Yeah. What's funny is, well, I consider our wedding a project.
Okay.
So parang sobrang lumalabas yung creative side ko rin sa Coop Weddings, and parang at this moment, that's where all of my creative juices are going.
So that's the current
Yeah.
obsessive idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, parang I'm slowly trying to get back to what I used to do. Na parang I did like this photography thing with Hannah, my dad. It's called She. So she.ph siya online. But para we would conceptualize guys to shoot, and then we would invite our friends, shoot them for free. So mga prod design stuff. Yung prod design stuff, in-execute ko rin sa Taoist. So mga music videos namin and stuff. So those things parang slowly binibreak back ko. Kasi yun nga, nawala siya at one point. Pero hindi pa siya fully bumabalik.
What's interesting to me, because I also work in advertising, I think most people will tell you that the entertainment industry is a 99 percentile game. Unless you're in the top 1%, that's only where you're really able to make it sustainable. So I think most people will have to hold down a day job. We do our corporate work aside from the work we do at Minsan. How do you feel that approach has changed? Because I'm guessing the ideal setup would really be where the band sustains itself and you wouldn't have to do a lot of corporate work, or is that something you want to have as a sustainable career when you're working as a creative and you're working with your band?
I never dreamt of having music as my full time kasi nga I'm attached to the super creative side, creating ideas and all. So parang yung medyo na-stuck lang ako.
Okay.
So
So, or I guess, where do you find yourself in that battle of holding down a job or wanting to pursue music full time? Parang, what what do you see where do you see yourself going?
Well, parang where I am now, but more successful, I would say. Kasi parang I love doing both. At the moment, it's not always easy, diba? Parang, we're not at the point where we're earning enough where parang I can make music my job. But also, at the same time, work is so hard na, I mean, it takes up so much of my time. So parang that's something that I want to work on in the future na parang sana I had more freedom sa time ko. So, where I see myself talaga is being successful sa both music and creative side, like as a creative director. But with the balance of time, parang time for myself. Kasi parang at the moment, it's because you're chasing both of these dreams. Every day is so hectic.
Yeah, and I
Parang
guess
full
that's
to
for a lot of, I want to say, for most musicians, that is a reality, I think. And a lot of the people who talk to me about trying to figure out how to make a sustainable career, a lot of them, I tell it's about you either go all in or you try to do the slow burn. But either way, it will take time. So
yeah.
it's, I guess, for you, who you put in a lot of time into ideas. It will take about 3 to 5 years. If you're not sustainable within 3 to 5 years, just on doing one thing. What I tell most people is you might want to either shift your career or shift the work attitude into something else. So it could be as simple as changing genres, or even just changing careers. What I find that's sustainable, or at least that's successful for the people who do try that approach, is they stick to the thing and you revolve around, I want to say, three main concepts. The first would be authenticity, meaning you do something that's authentically you. You do something that that is easy for you, as opposed to, let's say, if you were to have me do TikTok dances, that would be hard for me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
people would say, ba't siya sumasayaw ng TikTok?
Yeah,
Ayun,
yeah,
sino ba
yeah.
yan?" So, because authenticity shines brighter than anything you could do. People will see, gumagawa lang yan siya dahil pera lang yan, or parang dahil nakikiusap. So that's the first concept. The second concept is fan servicing, or at least providing value to people who you talk to. And if you're able to find value and provide value, then you have an overlap of that. That's where you create a somewhat sustainable career. But the third principle I find that ties everything together is consistency. So if you're authentic about doing something, if you're providing value to someone or anyone, and you're able to do it consistently, the overlap of all those three things is where you're able to create a sustainable career. And I think being able to strike that balance is hard. Is very hard, and you don't find that, I guess, you don't find that in your 20s. You find that probably 5 to 10 years into doing one thing and probably failing at that. Diba?
Makes sense.
But in your experience, has that rung true?
When you mentioned authenticity, like that's something that parang struck me the most. So parang, like you said, it's hard to get all those three done. Pero ang galing na, I guess somewhat I can say na ando naman ako sa three na yun. So parang my mindset, like as the songwriter, the frontwoman of the band, is yun nga, parang don't be pressured by what other people are doing. Like sa akin, yung I'm authentic in my songwriting, my singing. I think I'd like to say na parang I'm not trying to copy anyone when it comes to how I
Of
sing
course.
and also like how I write. And then sorry.
And I think no,
Sorry,
it's okay.
how-
But then I think it really is that if that's the amongst those three, I guess that's the easiest
yeah.
because it's easy to know if you're faking it or if you're doing it for someone else. But if you're doing it for yourself at the start, which I think you've done with just writing since grade one and thinking about concepts, that's what makes it easier to go on to the other things. Once you're able to find who you are authentically, it's easier to find who who you best serve or who can best relate to the concepts and ideas that you put forward. And once you're able to do that in a consistent way, that's when you're able to really drive forth a sustainable career, I think. But you actually, I think you're one of the few people who has a very unique circumstance when it comes to a music career because your band is under Sony, but you're also managed by Superstar
Yeah.
with Darwin. How do you find? And I know from because of working with Darwin, and I know that he's actually one of the most underrated songwriters in the Philippines. I truly believe. For those who don't know, he also wrote Torete.
Torete. Sige by
Diba?
Six
Sige
Cycle
by
Mind.
Six Cycle Mind.
Yeah.
They say he is. That's why it's Six Cycle Mind because there are only 5 of them on stage.
He's the
he is
sixth.
the sixth.
Yeah.
You have a unique perspective, I guess, wherein some of the songs that you guys sing on stage, you're not the one singing. How do you feel? How does that dynamic work for you?
Oh, you mean like the
Yeah,
like
because
Hannah sings sometimes. or
sometimes
Jeremy.
Hannah sings, or even like it's not a song you wrote; it's a song that Darwin wrote, diba? But you're the one that has to put that to life.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, ang saya niya. Not just because it's like, oh yay, may break time ako. Si Hannah na yung kakanta. Parang, you get to feel yung collaboration, number one, I think, as a creative, again. Parang it's so nice to collaborate with other people. So, when I see my bandmate Hannah or Rem singing songs that they wrote, it makes me happy. Like, and then at the same time, when I sing a song that someone else wrote, so in this case, Celos, which Sir Darwin wrote, ang saya pa rin kasi you know that you gave that song justice and this person trusted you with how you arranged it and how you sing it. Masaya siya. So, ayun, ang in-emphasize ko dun is yung happiness ko when it comes to collaborating naman.
But do you find that you have to talk to the writer and try to understand their own how they intended for the song to be felt, or is that something that you try to interpret on your own?
Well, at first listen, sariling interpretation din talaga siya. But then there's like always this check-in na, but wait, how do you feel about how I interpreted it? Para you bring out the balance din na acknowledging who actually wrote the song. So, when it came to Celos and how I heard it and the demo, I mean, it is what it is, right? Parang, okay, nagsiselos yung babae. And so that means I have to have this voice na parang hindi ko sinisigaw, pero mararamdaman mo talaga na nagsiselos ako at the same time. And then there were parts, what we did talaga was make the song bouncy. So those things, like once I settled that and then I talked about it with my bandmates, talagang kinonsult ko si Sir if he was okay with that. And then same for Hannah. Well, Hannah kasi when she wrote this in college kami, blockmates kami. She already had this like arrangement. So it was mostly like acoustic guitar lang, ganyan. And then me, ang pinaka-contribution ko dun is like the voicings, the back of vocals. Like, at first, I came up with it, pero always has to go back to like who actually made it or created it.
So I guess one of the core things that happens being a creative is the need to collaborate, I guess. You can't do it alone. Do you find that that's one of your core beliefs as a person as well? Or are there other like core beliefs that you really live by that sort of translate into how you do things, with how you work, how you perform?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess collaboration is one, pero hindi siya nangyari kaagad. So,
Why is that?
backstory lang. So, I learned to be independent at a very young age. Like, so born ako sa States, and then I moved here when I was in 6th grade. And then during that time, daming nambubully. So you learn to like be alone and make decisions on your own. And then in high school, that's when I started like being part of the student council. So medyo nagiging familiar na around other people. And then in college, I moved to Manila and I lived here by myself. So until now, like wala akong family here sa Manila. And so decisions came, like parang I had to decide on things on my own. So from the smallest decisions to even the creative decisions. Like, okay, I'm so sure of myself and what I do. But then like over time nga, work happened and I met so many other musicians, and then being in the studio and working with producers, dun ko na-embrace yung collaboration. So as an artist, I do think that that's one of the core values that I have, kasi sobrang tingin ko I can't do it alone. I can, but it won't be the same way, diba? And it's like the same thing how minsan parang minsan how nagbabatuhan tayo, diba?
Yeah,
It's like ang saya ng feeling na I get to share my insight with you and vice versa, and same with the band, same with Josh. So I think that's one. Pero in terms of like values talaga, one important thing din to me is yung kindness. So like,
does that stem from experience, you seeing the other end of it? Because I you mentioned like other people would get bullied. Is that something that struck you as when you were earlier, when you were younger?
yeah,
The need for kindness and seeing, oh, this doesn't work.
I think it did. Kasi, I mean, marami namang bata na dumaan sa bratty stage, and I think I was one of them. So,
So hindi ikaw yung
parang-
bully, ikaw yung nambubully.
hindi ako bully. Hindi ako bully. Pero parang, kindness I learned syempre from my parents, and then from the experiences that I've encountered.
Do you remember
along the
any
way.
particular experience that really led you to form that belief, or was it more of a general atmosphere?
I think there's just this mag-share ako ng like life change, something that
Yeah, that
changed
would-
my life, or like how I see life. Past relationship ko was really bad. Like,
Okay.
toxic talaga, 6 years yon, abuse. So, I wasn't receiving kindness. I was trying to give kindness at that time. And then, parang never na lang nawala sa akin na even if yun yung nangyari sa akin. Like, ang ko talaga, mindset lagi is just be kind. Because you don't know what
I don't know what
other people are going through.
Yeah, and I guess that's leading to that. Na you never know what the next day brings. How has your relationship changed with bread? So for those who don't know, part of the story is in a previous episode with Josh.
Oh
But
my
yun nga,
gosh.
apparently there's a side of the story na hindi masyado nakwento ni Josh. So we want to hear the other side. So for those who don't know, the short story is Josh Villena, Nikka's fiance, essentially had a very bad allergic reaction to some moldy bread. Moldy cheese
We hate
bread.
bread.
But yun nga, parang when you got here, para sabi mo, hindi kompleto yung kwento ni Josh. So what's what's the other side? Or I want to know rin, like, that must have been, syempre, a very harrowing experience, diba? What happened? Walk us through your experience of that. Kasi I'm guessing, ang naabutan mo is nasa elevator na siya na medyo maputla.
Yeah. So, anniversary na ng incident tomorrow. This is
Tomorrow.
the
So we're shooting this
29th.
on the 29th.
29th.
So, Happy
January
Chinese New
3rd.
Year.
Yeah, happy Chinese New Year. And tomorrow is a dreadful day. Bread anniversary, whatever.
Breadiversary.
Yeah. So, nakwento naman ni Josh. Well, earlier I listened to his episode, finally, kasi he didn't want me to listen anyway. So, yun nga, he was recording for Tota the night before. And then, the next days, parang we just decided to stay over. Kina Mark. We
sa
had
Makati.
good food, as always. And then, I think it was something I ate. I had a heartburn, like super bad heartburn.
That's why you didn't go with them.
Yeah, I didn't go with them sa walking nila. Bad heartburn, tas parang LBM pa, whatever. Basta I was like, I'm not going. Ganyan, I'm gonna stay here. And then, he was sending me like bubble videos. Yung bubble videos sa Telegram. He's like, oh, we're here na, ganyan.
Bumili kami ng pagkain.
And then I think he even he recorded himself eating that freaking piece of bread. Tapos maya, parang he was walking. He's like, wait, I'm itchy now. Tapos parang mamaya, parang dumadami yung hives ko. And then, I even asked him to stop by 7-Eleven to buy me like banana. Sorry. Tapos parang I was concerned for myself. Tapos parang yung mga sinasabi niya sa akin is like, medyo normal kasi,
It happens naman.
yeah, he
Minsan
gets
nangangati siya.
allergies.
Di ba?
Oo.
Like, when we would eat KFC, may konting, nangangati ako, konti lang. So, nothing too alarming,
Yeah,
I guess.
nothing too alarming. Tapos dumating siya and I was still in the room. And then, he was like, dito na kami, ganyan. And then I went out and I was like, nag-take ka na ng antihistamine. And he's just sitting on the chair like that. And then Mark was like rummaging through his medicine.
Med bag.
Pero he finally took antihistamine pero too late na. So what happened was, yun nga, he was on the chair and then he mentioned this naman na parang naglagay kami ng mga ice packets, whatever. And so he was like shocked, whatever. And then all of a sudden he's like, wala akong makita. But his eyes were open. But
I did not know that. I did not know that part of the story.
Oh, so he's like, wala akong makita. And then I was like on my phone searching something. So parang hindi ko masyado naintindihan.
Parang hindi pa siya tumatak.
Yeah. And he's like, wala talaga akong makita. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, tas parang dun nanghihina na siya. And then I told Mark, wala siyang makita. Let's lay him on the ground kasi kailangan na sa flat surface siya, whatever. And then everything happened so fast. He started parang having trouble breathing. To the point na parang as in, nagka-catch talaga siya ng breath. Right. Gumaganon siya. So, what I was doing that time was trying my best to keep his mouth open.
So he could breathe.
So, nilalagay ko yung hand ko sa loob and he was biting on it so hard. As in, nagpa-pass out na talaga. And then Mark wasn't there.
Kasi at that point, he was looking for the doctor.
Yeah. Ang galing ng ginawa ni Mark because during that time, he went to see the doctor nga na on the same floor. And then, ayun, I was like putting air. Hindi naman siya CPR eh. Pero I was like putting air in his mouth and then I kept talking to him. I was like, stay with me, stay with me. Just so he's conscious. Tapos biglang, finally got a response. Parang he caught his breath pero right after nawala ulit. Tapos sobrang gray na niya, ganyan. Tapos dumating yung doctor, nakita niya. Parang, we have to go. Tapos parang tinanong pa niya ako, is your car there? Eh, yung car namin, ang layo ng pinarkingan namin nung time na yun eh. But then, she offered to bring him to the hospital with her car. Yun. Sobrang... And that time, we had the dogs, and so I had to stay. So hindi muna ako sumama sa hospital. Sumunod na lang ako. Yeah.
Well, but the good thing, I guess, yeah, when I saw that, when I think it was either you or Josh posted, yung dog, hello. So I guess when we had seen that, at least when I had seen that, parang, uy, anong nangyari dito? And then a few days after that, we saw each other. But I guess one thing that that was a happy consequence, I guess, of that was you guys, within about a month after that, Josh mentioned it na rin na parang hindi mo malalaman eh. Parang ano pa inaantay mo? That's why I think he immediately proposed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A month later. So, Feb 26th. Apparently, he had the ring with him
For a while.
nung allergy attack mismo. So, I was... Alam mo yung may mga ganong tanong, like, so when that happened, you had the ring, mga ganyan. He's like, yeah. So, that was an unexpected moment kasi malahas yung intuition ko, but for this, like, di ko talaga...
I guess having your partner almost die will throw off most people's intuition, diba? Yeah. So I don't think you're to blame there. But I guess has that experience changed you or anything about what you do and how you move?
Yeah, of course. Like,
well, I know one is that you carry a small pack of the antihistamine na tinuruan mo lahat kaming mga kaibigan.
Yeah.
Okay, vial 1 ito, vial 2 ito.
yeah.
Diba?
He has a whole emergency kit na kailangan kasama niya lagi. At first, syempre, super strict kami about that, about what he eats. I guess, parang the main lesson from it all is like, life is too short. And the thing is, hindi yun yung unang near-death experience niya.
Yeah, I remember there was a gig a few months prior to that. Tama ba?
Yeah, exactly a year. Ay, no. Not exactly a year. Pero January 30 din, 2020. We got in a car accident. And then...
yung jazz. Tama
yeah,
ba?
yeah,
Yung jazz.
sa jazz. Tapos 8-wheeler truck pa yung, nag-crash sa amin. So, you know, those moments is like... let's just live life, you know? Ganon. And from that experience din, nakasulat din ako ng mga kanta. Like, I was stuck for so long and then I got to, like, write some songs from that experience.
Yeah, I guess that's also one thing I say to a lot of people who find themselves stuck about writing or being being stuck in a creative limbo. The easiest way to get out of it is to live. I think it's either you can do that by actually living, getting out of yourself and doing something, or at the very least, if you can't do that, I know a lot of writers live vicariously through reading. So, is that something you also do as well? Like you read, or where do you find yourself drawing inspiration outside of other music?
Well, of course, number one is own experience. But otherwise, if I don't have any inspiration, it's like experience of someone that I know personally. I'm bad at reading, ironically, as a writer. So, di ko rin kinukuha dun. But, yeah, like you said, parang you get inspiration from just by living. So it can be like a super random experience,
It could
or
be
like
a mundane.
yeah, like just a random word that I've heard that day. Dun ko mismo kinukuha yung inspo ko.
And I guess when you're inspired, where you're in that creative mode, how do you find that you're able to best help other people? How does Nikka, what is it that Nikka does best, and who do you best support with your creative work? Do you find that it's musicians, or do you find that it's clients, or are there people, or are there other outlets wherein you're able to do your best work?
Well, first thought that came into mind is yung team that I handle. So nasa position na ako that I have people in the team. So and they're like in the early 20s, and of course like you've been there. Sa kanila na-exercise ko yung patience, and I think, and like kanina, yung kindness din. And I think that's something that I'm able to share, that I share with them then. Parang just by doing and parang practicing and them observing. Parang yun na mismo yung parang biggest contribution ko to other people or sa kanila in particular. And then
And is that I guess that value and that principle of kindness, it's not necessarily common in advertising where you hear people are very strict. They will shout at you. There are impossible deadlines that were supposed to have been met yesterday. Is that something that you carry within your work? That hindi tayo dapat ganito?
yeah. So kindness in the way that I speak. So parang yun yung number one. Kasi like you said, in that type of
In that industry, there are more wolves, I guess.
It's not
Then-
gonna help you get your work done, basically. So productivity happens then, or parang thrives because of the work environment that you're in. So
And I guess
ayun.
more so in creative fields where collaboration is key. diba?
yeah.
So, I guess, how then do people help you? So, what is it that I think one of the ways, and that's clearly one of the ways that you help people. Like, I remember having a concept for the Minsan playlist, which was essentially just a QR code that we would put on a billboard.
Wait, it has a sticker version.
And then, yun.
Yeah,
So we eventually put out through consultations with you and other people, I eventually decided to make it into a sticker because more people could be reached at a lower cost, and it would be easier to get out there. And that's one clear way that you've helped me with that. How do people do the reverse? How do people help you? What is it that you need, and how can people help you in being a good balance of a musician and creative?
Well, people help me through their feedback talaga. So I asked, like explicitly asked, like how my performance went, how this song that I wrote sounds. I mean, I like hearing the feedback. At first, it's parang may cringe factor na I don't want to talk about it, but at the same time talaga yun, vina-value ko yung feedback, and I get that a lot from you. I remember like the first time you watched us, you gave feedback right away.
Sobrang notes na
Yeah,
medyo mahaba.
nakalista siya. At first I'm like, but then it helped a lot. And so then feedback in the studio, feedback.
That was at most, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was
Yeah,
at most.
at most, yeah.
Yeah, I think I still have the note somewhere. Tapos I remember asking, are you sure you want my feedback?
Yeah.
And you said yes.
Yeah.
So I gave you, probably I was parang, okay, nakikinig tas type, nakikinig type.
I could have said no, di ba? Pero di, sobrang laking tulong niya. And then I passed that information on. Yun
To the band.
Yeah, you pass, when you get feedback, personal feedback, another thing that's exciting about it is you get to share that feedback with other people. So na-share ko na yun sa bandmates ko.
Okay, I hope I didn't take it too harshly.
I don't think so.
Sige. I guess the only thing I'd add to that is get feedback from people who know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
Because,
exactly.
kunwari, especially now in the digital age where people can just say anything anonymously behind a username, you don't know if the person is genuinely giving you feedback or just saying something just because.
Yes.
So what I find is, I get feedback from the people who I trust and who have my genuine interests and well-being at heart. So you're one of those people I constantly get feedback from, and I guess expanding and building that sort of inner circle of good feedback people helps a lot.
Yes.
Diba? I guess what's one piece of learning that's specific to, I guess, the creative and advertising industry that you think that you learned that you think would be helpful if everyone knew it?
Oh.
Because I think only you can give that feedback.
Sabi hirap. Hold on. Ang hirap sagutin. Something. Again, sorry.
So, kumbaga, what's one thing that you learned specifically through your experience in advertising that you think would be good if everyone knew or applied? So for me, one of the things I always say is that if you're doing like a big event, feed your people.
Yeah.
More than if you can't pay them properly, at the very least feed everyone properly. And that's because if you don't feed everyone properly, eventually magugutom yung mga tao, babagal lahat ng trabaho, pangit na yung atmosphere sa work nyo, it won't be because when you're doing the work, you're not thinking of ganito lang yung bayad ko or parang, oy, ganito yung kikitain ko. When you're doing the work, you're in it there and you're relying on your energy. And expanding on that idea would be just treat your people well. At the end of the day, treat your people well, and so that they can do the work that you want to. You can do good work together. So that's, at least from my experience, something that I think everyone should apply. So from the simple idea of just feed your people properly and on time to treating your people well.
Yeah.
So for you in advertising, what do you think that could be?
For me, it's crafting takes time.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I mentioned kindness and patience earlier, so yun talaga yung prio ko. But to add to that, learning talaga is crafting takes time. And I think nowadays people rush into getting things out that the crafting gets lost. So yung benefit, I believe in the benefit of
Taking
crafting.
time.
Yeah, in taking time, like taking it slow, not rushing to something super successful. Kasi yung that time that you take sa crafting, dami mo ring learnings from that eh. So the whole journey, that whole journey itself, yung learning experience din nun. That's what I can share with people. Yeah, I learned sa advertising, pero parang ang ganda niyang piece of learning sa music industry. So it's like something that I try to parang tell my bandmates also na yeah, parang sometimes it's so easy to write the song. Like you have the lyrics there, you have the melody, but the whole arrangement factor of it, it's like you won't get that on the first try. It's fine if we don't get it on the first try, but we have more sessions together. Ganon din sa recording sessions na sometimes it's like, why aren't we done yet? Ganon. But that whole thing, yung crafting process nun, yung time that it takes, yun yung learning that I can share.
Yeah.
Oo.
I guess another thing I'd add to that is I also believe in sometimes a deadline is a really good motivator. So I guess a good balance of managing your time so you can actually craft
Yeah.
good work, but also being able to time manage and meet a deadline.
Yeah.
Because I also believe in
Super important ng deadlines.
yeah, and what I do if I can't craft everything I want in the first thing, I will apply all those learnings to the next thing. So, yun nga, pass your papers nga siya. Pero, okay, may natutunan pa rin ako. Apply it to the next.
So that's when like this comes in naman na parang you don't get it perfect on the first try.
You never
so,
do.
So like yun mismo crafting takes time. So like on your first try,
Wala.
wala. second try, pwedeng
Maybe you
meron.
get it on
Yeah.
your 100th try.
Yeah.
But even then, you find something you can improve.
Yeah.
Diba?
So, ang saya lang. Kasi, wala eh. Pag hindi ka pa super satisfied, alam mong may gaganta pa sa kanya.
All right. Sige. We have a simple tradition here in the podcast wherein the last guest leaves a question for the next guest without knowing who it is. So, this question comes from Luis, Ascona, and Charlene. So they make a lot of plant-related videos. They actually got their start doing a lot of food videos.
Okay.
And this question, inaprubahan naman ni Charlene, is, sa tingin mo, bakit nasa labas ang underwear ni Batman at Superman? As a creative, what do you think of that creative choice?
Ang ganda ng question. Una kong naisip, syempre, parang yung security ba? Parang lumilipad sila eh. So parang kailangan secure. Pag nasa ewan ko, pareho ba yung security pag nasa loob siya and labas? Kasi ang
Parang di ba mas secure kung nasa loob?
sinisecure mo rin yung pants, yung tights, na hindi mahulog yung tights din. And also, it's a style choice. A creative style choice.
And what do you think that style choice says?
Wala. Parang, I am a superhero. I can do whatever I want. So I put my
underwear outside.
Yeah.
That is the statement.
Yeah. We have to search the real answer though.
Okay lang. I think that
After
answer is
this.
better. Sige. If you can, maybe you could leave a question, whether serious as that,
Yeah.
or any other question you'd like for the next guest without knowing who it is.
Okay.
Sige,
I
sulat
write
mo na
it
lang.
down. Sige.
You just write it down. You don't need to say it.
Okay. Okay.
Superhero na ako eh. Anong pakialam mo?
Oo.
May superpowers na ako tapos underwear mo underwear ko yung tinitignan mo? Alright. And I guess
Sana masagot mo rin yan mamaya. I always wondered.
I know that this is different for every person. There are
Yeah.
people who see in 3D, in 2D. There are people who don't have a mental image.
Yeah.
So,
Kaya nga interesting to know.
For you, what do you see?
I see, realistic.
You see it in
image.
3D.
Yeah, in 3D. And then also, I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but like I can see us from different perspectives.
You can see the third person view.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ako, I see sketches. I can't see complete
Ang
pictures.
galing.
But I can hear complete melodies and arrangements.
Sketches na colored or black and white?
I would see, I wouldn't be able to complete an image. I would just see elements of it and try to piece that together, but I wouldn't see everything.
Galing. How about like calendar dates? Do you see it from top to bottom, left to right, as a circle?
Calendar, mostly, I see it as a chronological thing. So probably left to right or up to down. But I guess by the default view of a calendar. Pa.
Yeah. Gets
Anyway.
amazing, the brain.
And then the last thing we ask all our guests is that we at Minsan Studio love music, and we always we make a playlist based on the answers of our guests. So by any criteria, what song would you add to that playlist? It can be your own song, it could be someone else's song. But the only thing we ask is that you say why you wanted to add that song.
Top of mind, Shiver by Lucy Rose. That song convinced me to take my songwriting seriously. So it might do the same to someone else.
Is there any particular line or what about the song made you want to take writing seriously? Or
It's so raw, but the lyrics are so strong, and the way that Lucy sings it. Parang yung vibrato niya and the emotion of her voice, parang made me think na, okay, I don't have to create something so grand to
be able to connect
reach
to someone.
people. Oo. So yan, breakthrough song, I would say. yung
Sige.
Shiver.
All right, Shiver by Lucy Rose. I will listen to it after this.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Nikka. I
Thank
hope
you
we
so
had-
much, Jason.
right.
Thank you, Minsan. Thank you, Bean.
Okay, yun na yun.
Thank you.